I don't know how to say this in any other way than to just lay it out. It'll be hard to let the words cross my lips. To say it out loud means that I accept it as truth. And you'll judge me for the content that comes spilling out. Most people judge when they don't understand. But here's the truth for the day. My son is the bully. Do you know the boy that your daughter tells you about? The one that told her that her backpack was dumb? Remember that boy who hit your son on the playground or convinced his buddies to leave your kid out of the game that everyone was playing? Do you recall hearing about the boy who is disruptive in class constantly, the one who doesn't like to follow directions and sometimes flat out defies his teachers? That's my son. I know what you've been thinking to yourself about this boy of mine. As you calm your upset child after school, you tell them that it's not their fault, that my son is the problem, that he's probably just being a bully because he's bullied at home, that no one's teaching him right from wrong, that he's sad inside and you just can't tell from looking. You tell your kiddo this because it's a balm to soothe their hurt feelings. It's the easiest way to make sense of it all for your little one who is so clearly sad and hurting. But you're wrong. Let me go back a bit. I'm a kumbaya kind of gal. I come from a long and distinguished history of people whose sole purpose in life is spreading the love. As a child, my family hosted sick children from third world countries who needed a foster home while they underwent major life-changing surgeries. When I was 16, my dad took a 3-month sabbatical from his practice at the hospital and moved the whole family to an orphanage outside of Tegucigalpa, Honduras. I was raised by parents who taught me through example that all people are valuable, that everyone deserves respect, and bonus points if you can reach the marginalized. So when my husband and I were blessed with the arrival of our son, my mind swirled with fantasies of a little boy who would love the world like I did. Because he too came from a long line of lovers, I was certain that he would be the kid who would help elderly women to their seats and stick up for the kid in the wheelchair and not pass judgment when he learned that some men wear dresses and makeup and heels. Make the world better than it was when you got here, I whispered. Be kind, be tolerant, and just love others. But mere weeks into his first stint at toddler co-op, my son stuck out as the kiddo who wanted to dominate others. It seemed that he viewed life as a pissing match, and he was determined to be the dog on top of the pile. Unable to identify with this mentality, I was shocked, but not yet ready to lose sleep. Ever the optimist, I tucked my concern in my back pocket and decided to hug him more and cross my fingers that he'd grow out of it. As the years passed, he continued to be a boy with little impulse control. He continued to put others down for no other reason than to see the ripple effect of his actions. And at the tender age of 6, my young, bright, hard-headed, beloved boy had visited the principal's office more times than I could count. And not because he was receiving accolades and awards. He was a major offender, and most all of his offenses involved meanness. On the last field trip that I chaperoned, a sweet, plump little boy with bright blue eyes and a quiet demeanor with whom I'd been playing I Spy turned to me, tilted his head, and said, "I like you, and your son is not very nice." It was so matter-of-fact that it took my breath away. "I know," I said, "and I'm really very sorry about that. You deserve to be treated nicely, don't you?" He nodded his head eagerly. Had it not been inappropriate, I would have wrapped this sweet little man in my arms. I would have told him that he's valuable and he's wonderful, and it doesn't matter what my sometimes asshole of a son tells him. Instead, I said, "Oh, honey, he's working every day on being kind. He's working really hard, and someday he might be the nicest guy you know. So thanks for being patient with him." The little boy held my hand and laid his head on my shoulder, seemingly happy with my response. I could only look out the windows of the bus and assume that the condensation on the windows was from the concentration of little sweaty bodies, not from the tears of disappointment and heartache and failure that were welling up in my eyes. You must understand, we are truly working hard. We have so many conversations about kindness. We read books about feelings. We give major consequences for bad behavior. We celebrate the hell out of moments of kindness. We work closely with his teachers and his counselors. We seek therapy. We self-reflect. We try a new strategy, and then another, and then another. I want you to know so much. He's affectionate with his sisters and his dog. His eyes light up when he dances and spends time in nature. He is not bullied at home. He is loved. He is not spoiled. He's held to very high expectations. He's not hurting. He is happy. He has goodness. He is good. Listen, it's your job to advocate for your child. When my son says something cutting or acts with brutality or speaks with condemnation, it's your job to defend your kiddo. It's your job to make sure that my son is not allowed to continue to treat your kid that way. That's what makes you a good mom. And it's my job to teach my kiddo right from wrong, to help him see the impact of his actions, to teach him empathy, to show him why the world needs kindness more than anything, to tell him that no matter how he behaves, I believe in him, and I love him, and I love him. You and me, we're both doing our jobs. But please, please, don't make it your job to judge my son, or me, or my husband, or my daughters. Don't pretend that you know our struggle. I'm fighting with you. I'm fighting to protect your child, and I'm fighting to save mine. I'm the lover who's fighting. But believe this. Someday my son will emerge from the shadows of confusion and insecurity, and he will discover that he has far more power when he loves others. He's going to fulfill his calling of being the boy who loves and is loved. He's just not there yet.